Hey guys, I'm Jay Gupta. I'm a clean air activist and entrepreneur. We're going to be starting shortly here, live with Suhail Seth. The topic today is hashtag Twindemic. What happens when COVID meets air pollution? I can see people joining, and Suhail is here as well. Hi Reva, good to see you here. Okay, and so. Hi Suhail, how are you?
Hi, Jay. All good, all good.
Thanks for joining me and agreeing to do this with me. I think this is important.
Yeah,
And as people who live in Delhi NCR, I think there's a lot of reason to be concerned. So I'm glad we're doing this.
I think it's good. It's important. It's opportune. All of these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't even know how to introduce you. You're one of the smartest blokes I know. I know you're really, really well read. You've got the gift of the gab. I think you can speak intelligently on almost any topic, and and call a spade a spade. So all of those are good things, and that's why I wanted to do this with you. Um, so our topic today is the twindemic. That's what it's being called now. We already had this respiratory virus that's lurking, and now we've added air pollution to it. So before I get into the topic, I'm going to get personal. How are you doing? I mean, I know you live in Delhi NCR, and I know you have a young baby in the house. How are you doing? How are you coping?
I'm doing well because I also have uh, a dictatorial wife who, in a compassionate way, dictatorial. I would call her the benevolent dictator.
Yeah.
So she is more into this air pollution and all of this than I am, and she's she's taken exceptional care. Um, I also happened to meet you some years ago, and your people have been fantastic. And Nirvana's installed some, I can't even pronounce what filters. So, typically we are in an island, but we are alone.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
city is burning. The country has no idea of what's going to happen. You've seen what's happened in Hyderabad over the last 2 weeks. 185 lakes were converted into wretched colonies, and
yeah,
you've seen what Mother Nature has done. So, on my part, I'm coping well. See, I'm a great believer that in adversity lies opportunity. Often enough in this country, we whine about everything, but I've come to the conclusion that whining can only get you this far and no further. So
right.
I'm pretty happy. I've been traveling a lot up and down to Goa and elsewhere. Uh, I don't think I don't think COVID is not going to happen to us. If it does, it will. But I'm not going to put a break on my life for that. And having said that, I'm not going to be reckless either.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
I'm taking all the precautions, and I'm glad that you told me about the masks that you guys were doing, because I've been like flooded with masks of all kinds, and so I really don't know. So my benevolent dictatorial wife and I have taken it upon ourselves that we will ensure that for our child, for Gayatri, we ensure that there's an environment which is good and healthy. But having
Sure.
said that, we couldn't take our baby from March to June. We couldn't take her
Right.
out because of
Well,
COVID and not because of the weather being what it is. So
yeah,
that's why
yeah.
we're dividing between our time between Goa and Delhi.
Yeah, so is the writing on the wall like all of Delhi, escaped to Goa? I mean, is that what it is? I mean, I'm sending my wife and children in a couple of weeks. I'm getting them out of here. One-way ticket to Goa. Is that what it's going to be? I mean, because
I think
really,
so. People from all the medical people that I know, I have clients who are in the healthcare space. Every one of them has told me that uh, Delhi is not the place to be in winter.
right?
Having said that, We have political grandstanding between the jokers who run Delhi and the people who run other states. This stubble burning is not going to go away in a hurry. Uh, I think we're left with no option. So
Yeah.
ideally, it's an option again for the rich. And
Yeah.
that's my point. What
Right.
happens to the poorest of the poor in this country? You know,
Right.
we talk about India being poor. The actual impoverishment is the lack of opportunity to lead a dignified, decent life.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't escape
Absolutely.
it. They can't
Yeah.
escape.
No, I'm really, really worried, actually, Sohail. You've got a respiratory virus, puts a lot of, if you get COVID, it puts a lot of oxidative stress on the body, right? That's why everybody's checking their SpO2, their blood oxygen levels all the time. And that's exactly what air pollution does as well. It creates oxidative stress on the body. So you already had a bad situation and you made it a lot worse. Uh, I've heard a lot of public health specialists say, hey, we have no idea that once you throw air pollution in the mix, how is this going to change COVID symptoms and COVID outcomes? And, I'm concerned. I mean, I just know it can't be good.
No, it isn't good. But I'm concerned at multiple levels. Number one, I'm concerned at the lack of focused communication from the powers that be. Let's take COVID, for instance. We have been oscillating between trying to understand fatalities, cure, immunity breeding, hospitals, respirators, ventilators, the entire gamut. The fact that the lockdown happened in a haphazard manner, then we lifted it. We've got community spreading, we've got festivals coming up. I mean, it's a total mess.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
you have a problem of masks. People are not being made aware of which masks are the masks that we need to use. And I
right,
don't mean to plug yours versus someone else's, but the reality is the general average common man doesn't know what will keep him safe.
right,
The
right.
third is there is no clarity on the twin impact or the double whammy that we're going to experience for those who are living in the NCR, when you combine COVID with air pollution. And the fourth is that it's an annual cerebral pilgrimage we take. Every year around this time, we discuss the same goddamn thing, and there never
Yeah,
seems to be a solution. So either we are idiots believing that these jokers who run the country will actually do something about it, or we
yeah,
must give up on these people, because I don't think it is in their interest. See, the tragedy, Jay, is for far too long, India's politicians have used the ballot as the magnet rather than solutions to problems.
right,
So they really don't give a toss about you and me. Now they're worried about Bihar elections. And look at the irony. Narendra Modi, day before yesterday, tells the nation, oh, you must mask up and you must be good. I mean, if you had to set an example, and if I was more, I would say I will not be campaigning in Bihar other than
right,
virtual campaigns.
right,
But it won't happen.
right. Yeah.
Greed and avarice is not something that is alien to these guys. It's part of their bloodstream.
But why only these guys, Sohail? I mean,
Look at
you
Donald
raise
Trump.
why even Donald Trump? I mean, it's really this. If we talk about climate change, if we talk about wildfires, storms, flooding, air pollution, COVID, this is a man-made problem, and it's really driven by greed, right? I mean, it's a human problem. It's not just a Trump problem. It's not a Modi problem. It's a human problem. I mean, I don't want to name businesses, and you and I are associated with it as well. Everybody is using plastic, everybody is using disposables, everybody is using diesel cars. It's a failure at every level, and nobody is willing to point the finger at themselves.
So that's a great point. And now let me come to addressing the elephant in the room. And and I don't mean to be disparaging about activism or being disparaging about causeratis. No.
Yeah,
What happened across the world is the activists have created a divide where none should have existed. They had their reasons to. In
yeah,
order to bring things to the fore, you needed to have a kind of activism. What it has done is, rather than embrace or allow people to embrace the cause, it has created barriers. So now people say, oh, these are the activists. oh, these guys want change at the cost of development. Look at what's happening in India today. And it's again a political football between Jairam Ramesh and currently Javadekar. But the
Correct.
reality is, we are destroying our green cover every passing day. We
Right.
are destroying everything that we hold dear in terms of forests, everything, every passing day.
Yeah.
So, the reality, therefore, Jay, is I think our activism needs to take a more humane and more embracing and all inclusive touch. For instance, as you rightly said, if you talk about climate change, it means nothing to me. It's something that happens in Paris, it happens at summits at which activists go, they are fated, well paid, well traveled, all of that.
I don't think
But,
most people even understand what that means, by the way. When you use those two words, nobody understands what that means.
but if you were to tell me that today, let's say my daughter, say today, Gayatri needs to go to Goa in order to breathe properly, or needs to go to London or go wherever. Tomorrow, even those avenues will be closed to her because of what we are doing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Remember one thing, Jay, I've learned this from a marketing perspective. Consumers don't buy brands, they buy benefits. You don't buy Tide, you buy the whitest wash.
Yeah.
I don't buy cause, I buy fear. And it is sad. But if you scare people, or if you tell people that their lives will be impacted, that's when they are the most concerned.
Right.
They're not concerned if you tell them climate change. I know Sunita Narayan is doing amazing work. I mean, I've had battles raging against her on Coca-Cola, and she did an amazing job. Sunita did even with diesel, and
Yeah.
automobiles using diesel.
Right.
Now, you raised a very important point about diesel. I'm saying, why don't you name and shame? We don't even name and shame corporates. And when
Yeah.
we do, it's almost as if you're favoring one corporation versus the other. It's
Right.
not seen as a cause versus, irresponsible corporate behavior.
Right.
So I think there are a couple of things taking off from what you said. Number one, all activism needs to have a more humane and a more decipherable touch. I must know what it means.
Right.
Number two, you have to simplify it, to my mind, at a school level. People in schools, can you imagine some of the best schools in India don't even have these issues part of their syllabus because they are following the syllabus which has been created by some joker who sits in
That's
Delhi
right.
who
Right.
doesn't even know.
Right.
So you
Right.
need to, in fact, I've always said, and I ran two very important campaigns for the Delhi government when Sheila Dikshit was chief minister. Number one was My Delhi I Care, and the other was getting rid of plastic. You know
Yeah.
how we did it? We did it because of school children. They put pressure on their parents. If we had gone to the parents, they wouldn't have given a damn. Look at what we've
Yeah.
done with the hill stations. Himachal is nothing but a great plastic factory. And these
Right.
are responsible rich people.
No, no.
So,
So again, calling a spade, it's the parents, it's your generation and my generation that has caused this environmental degradation and disaster. So our generation is not going to fix it. It's the children. You're absolutely right. The hope is the children, and it's got to be done at a school level. I completely support you there.
not
Completely.
only that, I'm saying the Karan Johars and the Akshay Kumars and all these other Johnnies
Yeah.
will crawl when asked to bend. These people and your Doordarshans and all these other carrying free commercials on these issues, which are made again from a humane perspective, from a very simplistic point of view, so that
Right.
the messaging goes across. Please understand, you and I are having this discussion on Instagram Live. Okay, there are very few people who even know that this exists.
Right.
What do you do with rural India? What do you do with the overload of plastic in rural India?
It's
Our
everywhere.
picnic centers are a mess. Our
Yeah.
hill stations are a mess.
Yeah.
Our beaches are a mess. I mean, the Prime Minister has to mention one brilliant man, Afroz, or whatever his name is, who's doing
Yeah.
amazing work in Juhu.
Versova. Yes, you're absolutely right. I know
Can
what
you
you're talking
imagine
about.
in this country we have to congratulate people for being clean and hygienic?
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
tells you
there's no
how
conscious.
miserable things are and how miserable things will remain if you and I as you rightly said, don't take cognizance and don't take responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. There's no consciousness in our country, and frankly, health, wellness, quality of life, environment, these are not even in the top 10 list of
No, you
priorities.
tell someone, he'll say, "Oh, Jay, this is an elite concept." You tell
Right.
people about climate change or masks or air pollution, they'll say, "ये तो बड़ी elite चीजें हैं भाई, हमारे पास तो खाने के लिए सामान नहीं है, आप ये कह रहे हो?" Then
Yeah,
the politician will use the stupidest argument, saying, "Why is India being made to suffer when the United States for years has polluted the world?" Is
yeah.
this an argument? Do two wrongs make a right? Do you want to be so stupid that you will bring the end of the world closer just because you want to play games against another superpower? It's
Right.
bizarre.
And in the US is and other developed nations have gone through the same learning curve. It's not like they haven't gone through their industrial revolution. It's not like well they don't have the problem of population like we do, but they've all gone through the same learning curve. I mean the US was a mess, and the Central Valley in Los Angeles is still a mess. But they've gone through that learning curve, and they've eliminated a lot of these things out of their lives. I mean, people are conscious to a much larger extent. People are conscious. Over here, I mean, we got hammered by COVID, and nothing has changed. I mean, really, one was expecting that this may be the turning point, but
It never
nothing has.
will be. It never will be. You know why? Indians, by and large, we believe it will never happen to us. You see, we've got some karmic defect in our system where we say, "Yaar, hame to nahi hoga."
Yeah,
And if it happens, we will not blame ourselves. We will blame God.
yeah, yeah.
We would say,
That's
"Ye to
true.
hona hi tha."
Yeah,
So we will never accept responsibility for what we've done. Please
yeah,
understand how Indians behave. If something good happens, you will thank God. If something bad happens, you will either blame yourself, saying मैंने गलती की होगी, या you will blame God.
yeah.
But you will never take responsibility. So you
Right.
won't take responsibility for buggering up the environment, for dirty. Look at Delhi, yeah. Some of the richest homes. Look at their service lanes. They are littered with garbage. Why? Because as long as it doesn't affect my house, I don't
Yeah.
really care.
Right.
So that
Right.
is a big issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, COVID and air pollution don't understand these boundaries. And actually, our Prime Minister just 2 days ago, reiterated the importance of being careful going into winter, into the festive season. And one of the things he spoke about was as wearing masks. Now, what I want to point out there is, firstly, only 44% of the nation is wearing masks. Okay, and then 99% of that 44% is wearing masks that are made of cloth or that are the three-ply surgical masks that only filter exhale breath. That's not going to protect anybody from black carbon nanoparticles, from PM 2.5 in the air, or from a virus particle that's the size of 125 nanometers. There's no technical cloth material in the world that can filter or create a barrier from a virus particle that size. So it's really sad. We are actually involved in the mask business in the US as well, and there is a US FDA, there's a watchdog, there is leadership in the country that is advising people or protecting consumers. There is a complete lack of leadership and information in this country. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows what is the right thing to do. Even people of means don't know what is the right thing to do.
So let me tell you what the problem is. I was on the phone many months ago with Smriti Irani, and Smriti is the textile minister as well. And she got a lot of stuff brilliantly done, using the Khadi Gramodyog and excellent masks, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And she also created, to my mind, the whole PPE, manufacturing ramping up, which, by the way, India is now number one at.
Yeah.
But here's my point. Our scientists are silent unless they have to send a rocket either into space or up someone.
Right.
Our politicians have no idea. The only person who speaks is the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister's scientific temper of mind is diluted by himself because we don't know whether it's the clanging of thalis or the lighting of diya or the masks that will actually help us, because he's
Right.
believed in all three.
Right.
Third is our schools, our societies, our colonies are almost an area of the deaf and the dumb. Now look at what's happening in my area, Magnolias, which has people who are supposedly educated.
Yeah.
Half these jokers don't wear their masks
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
morning. And when
Yeah.
you tell them, it's almost as if you are creating an affront or you're casting a slur. But these are the jokers who should be setting an example.
Right.
I have, in fact, on Twitter said that taking a leaf from the book of Singapore and I think one more country or one more place, we should start fining people. But then
Yeah.
who will you fine? People will find a way to get rid of that fine because they'll bribe the guy who's about to fine them.
Right.
So
Right.
we are now living in perilous times. And I'm sad to say, don't expect the government to step in. Don't expect your nearest, uh, 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 you know, healthcare person to step in. Protect yourself and arm yourself with as much knowledge, and then act on that knowledge that you've got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm
that's where
gonna
people
add.
like you need to play a greater role. You
Right.
need to be more on television than some, actor's death being played up every day. But that's our reality. Our priorities are different. We are
I'm
worried about one chap
shocked.
who's committed suicide
Right.
rather than about 1.3 billion people who are at peril because of, as you rightly said, a twindemic. But
Yeah.
that's who we are. That's our priority.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually shocked, Sohail, that I'm also quite known to the whole media fraternity. Not a single media channel has reached out for any clarity on masks. I mean, it's like everything goes and everything kind of does the job. I mean, all masks are not equal. I mean, and let me say this in no uncertain terms or words here that the only masks that can beat a particle of 125 nanometer size is a mask. It's a filter in a mask created with using nanotechnology. There is no media filter, no HEPA, nothing else that can stop a particle size the size of COVID. Okay? So please, if you're looking to buy a mask, and actually it's amazing because if you use nanotechnology filters in a mask, not only does it elevate the filtration, but it also reduces the breathing resistance, which is something we need. Now that we're forced to wear masks over extended periods of time, we need masks that are comfortable. So nanotechnology solves all of those problems. The other thing I want to mention is that the mask market is flooded with fakes and masks with false claims. This is another thing the US FDA does really well in the United States, and we have nobody, we have no institution, we have no checks and balances. So I'm going to appeal to people to, check the certifications. You need a viral filtration efficiency. You need test certificates. Please check certifications, whether if you're settling for an N95, which only filters down to 300 nanometers with high efficacy, that's fine. Check the certification. I can guarantee you that 99% of the masks that say N95 on them are not certified. It's all false claims because there's
But
no watchdog.
no, no, I agree with you. But where is the government on this? The Minister of Consumer Affairs sadly is dead, Ramvilas
There,
Paswan.
there
Now we
is
don't know
no,
who the hell is responsible
yeah,
for making sure that these rules are followed.
yeah,
So my whole thing is there is no process of filtering which mask works, which one doesn't.
right,
Number two, you are not being able to punish the fakers because you don't know who the fakers are and the mechanism is not in place.
right,
For food, you have FSSAI, which is the Food Standards, Association or whatever the authority. For
yeah.
masks, there's no one. It's like, fair game. Anyone can get on.
Everybody's claiming everything. I mean, it's absolutely a shit show. It's really, really sad. Anyway, I'll be happy to take additional questions on masks, but let's move on. I mean, uh, so what's your thought on the whole vaccine story here? This is also kind of the story of hope. Now, this is not a stable virus. This is not a DNA virus, COVID. It's an RNA virus. We are being, kind of fed the Kool-Aid on this one that it's coming, it's coming. Of course, Trump wants to, pop a rabbit out of the bag before the election, whenever it happens. What are your thoughts on this?
From all the reading that I've done, from all the knowledge that one has assimilated by just sheer reading and by
Right,
talking to people, the following is going to happen. Number one, we won't have a vaccine that will 100% address COVID. So that's the first thing.
right.
Number two, we won't have a vaccine before the end of next year.
Yeah,
Everyone who's saying, oh, we'll get it in November, we'll get it in December, I think they're talking rubbish.
yeah,
Number three, we don't know what the fallout of this vaccine is going to be. People are saying its efficacy will be between 50 to 60% or
yeah,
less.
right.
We don't know.
Yeah,
People who are doing the trials, AstraZeneca has done some, Pfizer is doing some in America. We don't
hmm,
know what the status is. The reportage is very patchy. But what's
yeah,
even more dangerous is the way FDA in America is fast tracking some of the approval processes. So
yeah,
we're literally looking at from the frying pan into the fire if we don't have some level of process, some level of control, and some level of rigor in and while creating this vaccine. That's
yeah.
number one. Number two,
Well,
the
I'm going to
world
mention
is
the
very good.
word. I'm going to mention the word greed again, Suhail,
Of
because
course,
the pharma industry is very, very greedy.
of course, and they've
Okay,
always been.
always
Now,
been.
now we come to the most critical bit, which is the most important thing. Nowhere in the world have we had experience of adult vaccination.
Right.
We've had experience of children vaccination, child
Hmm?
vaccination.
Yeah.
How do we get adult vaccination processes underway? Nirmala Sitaraman, who yesterday made this comment that everyone in Bihar will be vaccinated for free, obviously because there's an election coming up. These are
Right.
irresponsible statements.
Right.
These statements create apathy and they create a level of laxity which you don't need.
Yeah.
Having said that, India doesn't have a plan for mass adult vaccination.
Right.
Adult vaccination will need three things. Number one, it'll need temperature control vaccination carriage or vaccination movement. We don't have that
Yeah.
because we are saying that it'll be at three temperatures minus 15, minus 50, minus 80. We
Yeah.
don't have that. We can't even bloody move our vegetables around here. Where the hell will we move a vaccine?
Yeah.
Number two, we don't know what are the side effects. And for those side effects, we don't have a medical or a clinical protocol established as yet. We don't know if you have cardiac, which emerges from one strain of this virus, what are the results or what is going to happen.
Right.
Number three, and this to my mind is very critical for a country of our size, is at what cost?
Yeah.
Adar Poonawala, who's a very dear friend of mine, told me, he says, oh, we'll do it under $5, $7. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
The point is, will the state provide it and then give it free based on a certain, income definition? We don't know.
Yeah.
And plus, Jay, I'm saying, look at the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Please understand, industry is reeling. The economy is in a shambles. People are scared. I've written
Yeah.
about this. This is the first time in the world you've had fear which is borderless, which recognizes no income, no status, no stature, no wealth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is actually an egalitarian virus which hits you irrespective of who you are and what
Yeah.
you own or what you command. So
Yeah.
when you live in such a borderless world with such grave afflictions on the anvil, can you imagine what you're going to do?
Yeah, well, I think we're on the same page here. I think 2021 is lost. I don't see a solution in sight, and
I don't
I'm
think before March 2022. If you ask me, I think March 2022, May 2022 is when we will have this vaccine and
yeah,
COVID will never leave us. It'll
yeah,
be a scourge which will stay with humanity.
absolutely right. And I think again, I'm going to bring it to the masks. I think the mask for now, at least for the next 18 months, is more important than the vaccine. So please, you know, what I want to tell everyone is, safety first. Please don't compromise there. Please don't use disposable products. I mean, that's what got us here in the first place. Be conscious of the environment. This problem is not going away in a few days. If you need a mask for the next 12 to 18 months, buy reusable, washable masks. Buy masks with a proven, viral filtration efficiency. Buy masks right now with also a proven particulate filtration efficiency. Buy a mask that fits you well. Buy a mask that's comfortable and that's one that you can breathe in. All of these things are really, really important. And please see all the test reports, see all the certifications. That is really, really important. So here, I think I'm done with most of my questions. So what's the big message for everybody here before we take some questions? Based on
My
where
big
we are
message is
now.
my big message is very simple, Chair. Look after yourself before you decide to look after the world.
Yeah,
I have this airline theory. If you have a child traveling with you, first get your oxygen mask down and then look
right.
after the kid. The
Yeah,
problem is we are all worried about the next person. And in that process, we are being irresponsible, we are being callous, and most importantly, we are minimizing the impact that this virus has had and will continue to have on our lives.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think we need to be more cognizant. There needs to be greater communication. There needs to be greater responsibility. And from the government's end, or from the authorities or the healthcare system, there needs to be greater accountability. All of that is missing.
yeah. No, absolutely. I think my big message for everybody is just safety first. You know, you you
Yeah,
you
prevention,
you
prevention.
Yeah, you've heard it again and again and again. You guys know what to do for COVID, the social distancing, the hand washing, putting on a bloody good mask, just do that. You know what to do for air pollution. Look at the AQI. It's for free. You can download these apps. Just don't be out there and limit your exposure. Don't go out and exercise when the AQI is over 200. I mean, it's stupid. It makes no sense. So just be smart. I mean, again, guys, we are going through something now over the next 4 to 5 months that is absolutely unprecedented. What's going to happen here in North India with the combined impact of COVID and air pollution, God only knows. And
Yeah.
but we can actually influence the outcome for ourselves by just being smarter, by being responsible, and we may even influence the outcomes for our loved ones around us. So, just safety first. That's my big message for everybody here. Um, Guys, questions. I'd love to take some questions. Uh, Anybody have any for Sohail or me or both of us? I don't know how to scroll back on this. Oh, there are lots of questions here. Your masks are anti-pollution and antiviral. Okay, yes, absolutely. So the masks that Nirvana Being makes, they can be bought from nirvanabeing.com, are all antiviral and anti-pollution, and they are tested from Nelson Labs, which is the highest clean air filtration lab for testing in the world. It's in the United States. Uh, let's see, another question. Masks are as important as a vaccine. Absolutely right. That's not really a question. How has COVID impacted the marketing industry? Sohail, I think this
It's
is
actually
definitely
helped
for you.
us
It's actually
because
helped you.
because now you've got to the pie has shrunk. So more and more people are worried as to how to address that shrunk pie with lesser monies at your command. So I don't think we should say how's marketing benefited or anything. I don't think any of us should be delighted about making money out of misery.
Yeah, yeah,
No one would want this to happen. We're not ambulance chasers or vultures. My only thing is that industry is really, really in trouble. When I say
yeah,
industry, I don't mean the top 100 companies, but I mean the bulwark, the edifice of Indian industry, which is your small scale, medium enterprises.
yeah,
They're in trouble. Your kirana stores are in trouble. People who have mom and pop stores, they're in trouble. And
yeah,
they're in trouble not because just of COVID, but because of the way things have panned out.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, no one buys products out of fear. You buy products when you're happy.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I hope, this festive season things turn. But from all accounts, I predict 8 quarters of severe pain as far as India's economy is concerned. All those Johnnies who appear on the front pages of the Economic Times saying, oh, we'll be fine, we're all going to be good. This kind of nonsense also has to stop.
Yeah.
We've got to stop mollycoddling an entire population saying, oh, nothing's happened, we're all fine. We're not fine.
We're not fine.
Someone needs to read the goddamn Riot Act out to people.
Yeah.
Someone needs to tell people what the truth is.
Yeah.
You're not living in Alice in Wonderland where you believe that everything is fine. It's
Yeah.
not fine.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
tragedy is, we in India love to hear the good news out of the bad, so people will
Yeah.
take out what they believe they should take out. But things are in trouble. People
No,
are in trouble.
absolutely. I mean, I completely agree. It's time to bunker down. At least for the next 15 to 18 months, you got to ride this out. It's really time to bunker down. I agree with you. I have a very bearish view on where things are at in terms of the economy and business. I really don't know what it's going to take
And
to
you
pull
see,
us out of this.
everyone, Jay, who's saying, "Oh, but look at the stock market. Look at the stock market." Let's understand, of 1.3 billion people, only 1.2% of India's population is in the primary markets
Right, right.
as
Yeah,
individuals.
right.
Okay, if you look at value in terms of value versus volume, most of it is institutional. So
Right.
let's not get excited saying, "Oh, stock market is rising.
It's
That means
not an
India is doing well."
indicator.
There is
Absolutely not an
no
indicator.
correlation between the economy and the stock markets doing well. Stock markets are either rigged or
Yeah,
manipulated or serve only a limited population.
yeah,
When I
I
say
agree.
the economy, I'm looking at the capabilities of people to buy and sell. I'm
Yeah,
looking at livelihood as the benchmark,
yeah,
not, greed, avarice, and extended wealth.
right. Agree, agree. Okay, the next question is from Neeraj. He's asking, shed some light on the kind of mask to be used and certifications to look for. So, the need of the hour is antiviral and anti-pollution masks. You need masks with lab-tested viral filtration efficiency, and you need masks with lab-tested particulate filtration efficiency. And the last kind of test certificate you want to look at is the breathing resistance because you need masks that are comfortable. There's no point of having a great mask with very high filtration efficacy if you can't keep it on your face for more than a few minutes. And all of those certifications, you want it to be from legitimate labs, and you need it to be on the website of the companies that you're buying from. Everybody is blowing smoke right now. There's a lot of false marketing. There's a lot of fakes. Be
Now,
careful.
Jay,
It's like buying
just
fake
one thing.
medicine. Yes.
Just one thing. Now look at the stupidity of the government. They've done a great job with Arogya Setu. Fair.
Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
that app.
Yeah.
How difficult would it have been on that app to show what kind of masks people should be wearing?
Yeah.
How difficult would it be for them to point you to authorized retailers of fine masks or the proper masks?
Yeah. Yeah.
How difficult would it be for them to mandate community or mohalla clinics, which Kejriwal keeps blowing his trumpet about, to
Right.
stock these masks?
Yeah.
Things are not difficult in our country. The problem is, as Indians, we have a problem for every solution. That's the problem.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a
So
good
if
one.
we looked at it in a linear manner, in a logical manner, we could have solved these problems. But we don't
Right.
want.
Yeah, it's the blind leading the blind. I mean, it's really a lack of leadership, and I think that's one of the things that's quite in my face from this whole COVID saga. Those number of people infected or the mortality, you can see all those charts and things, and that's really a report card that reflects on the leadership of the nation. It's. I mean, I definitely knew when this COVID hit that India would be the worst. I wouldn't have imagined that the U.S. would have been up there with us. So that's been an amazing kind of revelation, and it still plays out. The stupidity still plays out, but
Yeah.
it it is what it is. Any other questions? Vaccine? Yeah, you're right. Vaccines are not coming anytime soon. Oh, somebody is appreciating our masks. Thank you very much. Where can we buy these masks? On nirvanabeing.com, or we have a store in Gurgaon on Golf Coast Road, and we have a store in Khan Market. Will we upload this session on IGTV? Yes, we will. Nirvana Being will be uploading this on our IGTV channel. This is being run from the Nirvana Being handle. Okay, I think we're good, Sohail.
Thank you, Jay.
Of course, thank you for
Given
taking the
the,
time.
you know,
Always love engaging with you. It's always from the heart. It's always with a lot of passion and emotion and no minced words. So love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you. I appreciate your
thank you
time.
for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a
Thank
pleasure.
thank
All
you.
right. Take care. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.